What I find to be really amazing with pivot tables in general is how we can take data that just looks like it's already been summarized. I mean, it can't get much more summarized than it is. To be able to take something like what you see on the screen here and actually turn it into something that really gives you an idea of what's really going on, in this case, in the movie industry. Now, all this data is fake. Silence of the Lambs is not a family classic, directed by Paul Lynch, starring Henry Fonda. All right, so everything is all out of kilter here. It's just meant to be more of an example of anything. So what I'd like to do is get my arms around the data a little bit more, as I've said before. And I want to start out with a pivot table that focuses on the different directors. And I'd like to get a sense of how much their films have done as if they were all that was all important in the film. In other words, I would like to look at the director like Paul Lynch, see all of the dollars that Paul Lynch's films that he's directed, how he's generated or what he's generated over the years. So when you look at Paul Lynch here, and you look further down, you might find Paul Lynch again, and so forth. The whole idea is we want to go ahead and add up all of those Paul Lynch numbers that we have over on the side here to get a general idea of what he's done, I guess, indirectly. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more than just the director, but we'll just kind of focus on the fact of the director versus the dollars that were pulled in because he directed the movie. How about that? All right. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to click anywhere in the data. We're going to go back into the insert. We're going to click on to pivot table. Again, here is the range. That's okay. And it's going to be putting this on its own worksheet, which is good. And we'll go ahead and hit OK, and there it goes. So we're going to start out, first of all, with bringing in the director field. So I'm going to pull this back down again, this border here. All right, so I'm going to take the director here, drag that into the rows, just like that, and now there they all are. Each just listed very uniquely. Now, we're going to go over to the gross sales, all right, and we'll bring that down into the values because that's what we want to get summarized. Perfect. All right. So just what we're looking at here, it's in the lifetime of Alfred Hitchcock, that's how much the films that he directed grossed, regardless of how many there were, regardless of what year it was. That's what he's done in his lifetime, let's just say, right? Same thing with Bernard, same thing with Bill, and so forth. What I'd like to do next is break the data down, these numbers down by year. And I think our years range from about 2010 through 2015, okay? So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the year field, okay? That'll be over here, and we're going to make that a column heading. So we're going to drag it over to here, let go, and there it is, all broken down. Now, if you're watching the previous videos with the pivot table, you might have remembered how when I did this with the dates, or brought in, the dates or the year, whatever it was, it ended up having a little plus there and all that. The thing here is that the data is just, for the year, is just a number. Okay, I mean, as far as the program is concerned, it doesn't know that that's a year. It just looks at it as being just, numbers. And it's, grouping them along the top there. So that's all that is. All right. Now, the other thing is that we probably want to make this look a little bit nicer with the formatting and all that. So we'll go ahead and just kind of point to any one of the numbers. We'll do a right click on it. Go down here to value field settings. Go to number format. And we'll go number. We'll tell it no decimal places and comma format. Hit OK. Hit OK. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now, once you get your fill of that, and you say, well, that looks okay, maybe print it out, do whatever, we now want to create another pivot table. Now, instead of creating a new pivot table, I'm just going to use what we already have, and use kind of like that as almost like our base template to go into other areas here. So what I'd like to do is just swap out the director field with the genre field, just to see what we've got there. So what we're going to do in that case is we can take the director out. Oop, just like that, just going to point to it, drag it out like that. Bring in the genre, just drag it right in there, and you've got a whole new set of data. It's already formatted because that field, which is this one right here, was what was formatted, not the original field that we had over there. But it's amazing how quickly this recalculates. I mean, if you had to do this by hand, I mean, this would take you hours sometimes to do. So just the power of being able just to drag and drop is just unbelievable with this program. Now, another one we can look at is we'll get rid of the genre. Okay, we'll pull that one out, all right? And this time we're going to bring in, well, actually, I'll tell you what, we'll put the genre back in there, and sorry about that. So I want to do genre, but then I want to break down the genre into the running times. Now, each film, if you look at over here, each of them has their own unique time. I'm not really interested in seeing each specific time and seeing how many films are at 201 minutes, how many films are at 264 minutes, and adding up those numbers. I don't want to get that specific. What I want to do is group them. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over here to the time field, drag it underneath the genre, and you'll get something like this. So those are under the action films. Each of the films that are 106 minutes, 128 minutes, I'll tell you, for the most part, I don't think there's, I think each film has its own unique number, just the way it kind of randomly generated the data here for you guys. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. But the point of the matter is this is just a little too specific. What I'd like to do is maybe break this down into maybe 30-minute increments. In other words, maybe 101 minutes to, so basically the minimum number is about 101 and the maximum is, I think, like 310 or something like that, whatever it is. But I want to kind of group them into like 30-minute increments instead of what we see here. Now to do that, what we'll do is we'll click on any one of the running times, all right? We're going to go here to the Analyze, all right? We're going to go to Group Field, and you'll notice on here it says it's going to be grouping them by tens. I mean, that if you leave it like this. We're going to change that from a 10 to a 30, okay? So I have 30-minute increments. So I'll hit OK on that, and there we go. Not bad. That's pretty cool. It's a little sparse in there. If you think it's a little too sparse, what you could do is go back, make sure you're on one of them again, go back in the group field, and maybe change this into maybe 60-minute increments, right? Something like that. Hit OK on that, and there we go. That maybe looks a little bit better, not as much white space in there. And of course, this layout of our data would mean something to somebody. Not everybody's going to be interested in every one of these designs that you do. It's just you have to figure out which ones, which field combinations you need to best convey the story of your data. Okay, now another layout that we can do is we'll get rid of the genre and the time, and then this time we're going to go with the top billing actor or actress, whatever. So we'll take the top bill, put that down into there, and there you go on that. And now there's your yearly breakdown and so forth. Now, a couple things here. While you're looking at this list, and it starts with Adam Carolla all the way down to William Holden, okay, quite a range there. Based on the grand total of what they did over those many years, based on this total here, who would be the top billing actor or actress? And who would be the bottom billing one, okay, as far as dollars go? And the way we could do that is to sort this data by any one of the years or just sort it by the grand total. If we do it by the grand total, that's going to give us the overall who's the best, who's the worst kind of thing, right? To do this, it's very simple. you click on to any one of the items within the grand total. And then you can actually, right here, just do a right click. So right click anywhere on any one of these items here. And you'll see sort. And you'll see smallest to largest, largest to smallest. We can just click on the largest to smallest. And there we go. So it looks like John Wayne was number 1. And it looks like Gary Cooper was the last in line. The other way you can do that is you can click onto it and then go into the Data tab and hit your A to Z or your Z to A. So whatever's easier for you. I think just right clicking is probably the easiest, but that's all up to you. So you can do that. If you decide later on, okay, I want to go back to the original, then we can just click on to one of the actors or actresses there, hit A to Z, and there we go. Now, as far as filters go, we can actually bring in a field that we're not using in our pivot, such as maybe the genre. So we take the genre, bring that down into filters, and now what we can do this time is click on that little drop down, choose a specific genre, let's say adventure, hit OK, and there's all your adventure, well, I wouldn't say adventure films, but here's all your top billing actors or actresses that were in adventure films, and then you can see over the years what they had brought in. So that's pretty cool. If you want to go back and reset that filter, we just go back up there and click on to all, right, and then hit OK, and now we're back to square one again with that. Now the other filter that we've talked about before that we had is the filter within the pivot itself. So you might say, well, I'm looking at maybe just certain actors, okay? So that would be in the row labels here. Now we only have one field here, so we don't really need to select anything. We can just hit the little drop down arrow, right? And we can go in there and say, okay, deselect them all. Let's say I want to go with, let's say, Ben Affleck. Let's say we want to go with Clark Gable, and we want Emilio. All right, so those three. Hit OK. There they are. There's the years. Looks great. And then last but not least, I'll go ahead and I'll clear the filter. So I'll click back onto here. Go back and hit either the select all here, or I can just say clear filter from top bill, and that'll bring them all back. And let's say that I want to keep the top bill in there, but I want to break it down by genre. So I want to get the genre out of the filter and put it into the rows area. So I can just take genre, so we'll lose the filter, drag that on top of top bill, and there we go. Now if I did it the other way, if I took the genre and put that below top bill, then I get that. Up to you. I mean, either way, they look good. It just depends on how you want to convey that data. And then once you've done that, you can say, well, I want to focus in on 4 of these people. So I'll click on one of them, hit the filter, hit the clear all, hit Adam, Ben, Bert, and Charles. And then we'll go ahead and hit OK, and there they are. So what a great little set of tools there for that. But overall, you're able to come up with these designs, these layouts of calculations that would have taken you, again, hours, if not days, to put together and to put together accurately. So hopefully this is good stuff for you. We're going to continue with the same database list, doing some other designs, of pivot in the next videos. Thank you for watching, by the way.